I'm not doing, other than sending direct messages, I'm not doing much on Facebook.
I was going to ask you that, so let's just get right into it, Eddie.
Let's do
go.
it.
Today's date is November 11th, I think, 2019. It's been like over a year since we've actually done this, Eddie.
That's way too long, my friend.
It is way too long.
Too long.
But do you feel like we stay in touch because we follow each other on Instagram and now TikTok and not on Snapchat? You're not on Snapchat, are you?
I have eliminated Snapchat from the circle.
Have you deleted that officially?
I did.
You did? Wow.
But, I just kind of deleted the actual app off the phone, so I'm sure it's still there. It's just a matter of utilizing it. And now I have different platforms that I'm utilizing that I like more than I liked Snapchat.
Yeah.
I figure you do what you like, right?
Exactly. 100%. So let's rewind the clocks. How did this all begin? How did we cross paths, for those that don't know, and even reminding myself, because we did cross paths somehow on the internet.
We did. Someone from Title came into my office probably within the first 3 weeks. His name is escaping me. That's terrible. He moved to Florida. He used to be in Arizona. And he said that you're the guy to talk to about social media. So you and I connected on Snapchat because of that, then connected on Facebook, then connected on Instagram, and here we are today.
There you go. And now we're following each other on TikToks, and we haven't done a duet yet, but I don't know what they call it, hacked your sound and then used your sound and
which is really cool. Thank you for doing that.
You bet. It was a genius TikTok. For those that don't know what TikTok is, it's like short videos, and mainly I find them humorous, but you can do anything educational. And yours was what the battle we all have as commercial real estate agents of keys. And you open a lockbox and there's no key. And like as soon as I saw it, I was like, "You are spot on, 100%." Like, dude, I'm not even kidding you. Like, I'm gonna grab this. Give me a second. Story of my life, man. Just keys everywhere, just all the time.
All right, I'm going to give you a little hack, and it's one of the gentlemen in the office gave me this hack. He has the coolest little, and it looks like the old school day timers, and it's got very nicely, and you know those old baseball card slots where you can put the cards in? He's got a set of keys, and every set of keys is labeled inside one of these folders. Most organized person I know.
So it's a baseball card holder. Is that right?
It looks like that, but it's not physically that. I don't know exactly where he got it, but the keys fit perfectly in these little slots, and it's just a little book where it keeps everything organized.
All right. Well, my hack is a tackle box, so those actually need to get into a tackle box. And then I don't have like the actual tackle box labeled. That's where I think his strategy might be better because you have both places to label. But yeah,
I like it.
Literally, I carry around a tackle box with a bunch of keys in it, and all the keys are labeled.
That is awesome.
So our paths cross again. I think what we have in common, Eddie, what draws ourselves to one another is I'm extremely interested in growing a beard as long as yours, and I just need advice on how to do so, and that's why I keep following you to learn how to pull that off one of these days.
I think you can do it. Much like commercial real estate, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes persistence.
All right.
You can do it, Bucky. This beard, let me tell you something about the beard. Now, there's a lot of guys with beards in your market, I'm assuming. So it might be a little bit different, but the attention that this beard gets, less than 2 hours ago, I was walking up to a property that I was looking at. A woman rolls down her window as she's about to take a turn, and she goes, "Hi." And I go, "Hello." And her and her daughter both giggle, and I'm like, in awkward silence, right? And I'm like, "You roll down the window, we're talking." She's like, "We just both wanted to say how great your beard looks."
That's exactly why I follow you 110%.
I appreciate that.
But in real honesty, so I think why we enjoy continually staying in touch. It's just we have a passion for creating content about life in general, but it all comes back to commercial real estate in our career and kind of what we're doing out there on the daily grind. So I think that's why we enjoy chatting with each other a lot.
I agree. It's a lot of fun. And it's fun when it's fun, right?
Yeah.
Like you're going to do more of it if you're actually enjoying it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Do you ever have that feeling like you create a piece of content and you're like, I wish I could just go do that for the next 5 hours and like not answer any emails or return any phone calls? Like, I just want to do that. That sounds fun.
What's an email?
Dude, I'll show you a lot of them, man. So what has changed since we last chatted? How many years are you into the commercial real estate business now?
I think I'm just over 3.5 now.
Congrats.
Thanks, man. Thank you. What has changed? Everything is always changing. I think that's what's awesome about our industry and what we do. It's just interesting to see, even in the short amount of time, like I'm talking to old timers that have been in the business for 30 plus years, and the type of stuff that they mention, it's kind of that classic consistency, but not at all, if that makes any sense. Like you need to have that kind of baseline, but the things that we're doing and the space sizes and just everything keeps turning, everything keeps changing. And I think for us, it's very important. It keeps us on our toes. And I think it's more challenging for the landlords than it is for us as the advisors.
Why do you say that?
Because the changes that they have to make to a physical property, whether it be size or whether it be parking spaces or whether it be anything for them, it's a physical change and it's going to cost bucks. For us, I think it's more up here. It's a mindset change. So are we going to send e-blasts or are we going to jump on LinkedIn or TikTok and utilize it that way? It's just up here.
Yeah.
It's a small shift. It's not going to cost us a bunch of money. It's just different.
I commend you in what you're doing on LinkedIn too. I'm not a big LinkedIn person per se, but you are doing things differently there too.
You know, my friend and I had this conversation the other day. He does paid advertising for his occupation. I'll go out and I'll just say this. I don't think that my content on LinkedIn is very good. I think that I'm just doing something and it gets a ton of traffic and it's led me into a really good meeting that a guy that's flying into town next week. It's just one of those things, you know, it just has to be part of the grand scheme of things. Mm-hmm. We're not going to be on bus benches anymore. We're going to be on LinkedIn. We're going to be on Instagram. We're going to be on all of these platforms and just have fun with it.
Yeah, 100%. Speaking of having fun with it, what is Tub Talk?
Are you kidding me? It's like the greatest thing ever. It's so original. It's so unique. It's so goofy. It's so borderline awkward.
It's borderline awkward, which is perfect. I mean,
it's perfect for me. I pull it off just right.
Yes, you do. So for those that don't know what Tub Talk is, what would you explain Tub Talk being?
Tub Talk is me literally taking a bath with bubbles and rubber duckies, talking about everything. It could be commercial real estate related, it could be business related, it could be life related, and I air it on Instagram once a week, every Monday. All you have to do is go to hashtag Tub Talk, and normally my stuff will come up towards the top, in addition to some real weird stuff. Just saying.
Yeah. Well, I love how you just said hashtag Tub Talk, because I never had, it's always so hard for people to spit off their username and spit off, you know, it's like, just go to this hashtag, you'll find me in there somewhere.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Have you taken Tub Talk and made it on, put it out there on LinkedIn?
Boy, I'm thinking about it. And one of my business partners brought this up the other day when we were at lunch. It's one of those ideas that could go either really good or really bad. And I'm really just kind of, if I do a LinkedIn Tub Talk, it's going to be a spoof on Tub Talk. And that's all I'm going to say because I probably should do it now.
I'll be real with you. I would have a tough time. Like, I don't know why. You know, it's like we shouldn't care, right? But we shouldn't care. 100%. We shouldn't care. But you are putting it out there to an environment that would never, ever consider doing anything like that. And so you think about the bankers and you think about the property owners and you think about some of those people that would be like, I don't know about that. I don't know, you know, and that's what gets you, that's what holds you back, I would imagine.
Well, here's what's bouncing around in my brain right now when we're talking about this, right? I will use curse words on TikTok. I absolutely will not use curse words on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
On Instagram stories, it might slip out. And I'm not a big cursor, but I think that every platform has a different mentality.
Mm-hmm.
So what works on TikTok versus what works on Instagram versus what works on LinkedIn. And do you know what's funny, Bucky? On most of those platforms, it's the same people that I'm following and that are following me.
Mm-hmm.
So to cross over a Instagram Tub Talk to a LinkedIn Tub Talk, it's pretty much speaking to the same people. But is it the platform to do that type of lighthearted business talk? I don't know.
Right. And I guess where my mind went is you think it's the same people, but one thing I found just in putting out, my big thing is a market update every Thursday, consistently, no breaks, do it every Thursday. If I'm not available, get someone else to do it. And I cannot tell you the amount of people that have said, I like your short videos, or I like what you're up to. So this morning, walking into the YMCA, guy is probably in his 60s. I'm like literally checking my badge, and he's sitting at the coffee table, and he goes, "The man around town, Bucky Beeman, and I like what you're doing on your videos," right? And I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm not awkward about it. I'm like, thank you, right? But I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, what platform are you catching me on? Because you're not on Instagram. I know that. So it's probably Facebook, and it could be LinkedIn, but it's probably Facebook.
That is awesome.
And then on the same side, it's like, if I think of another example, this morning I'm cold calling a storage company, and it's a corporate storage company, and it directs me to somebody up in the Twin Cities, which is 2 hours away from where I'm at. And, you know, guy answers the phone in his corporate talk, and he goes, "Bucky Beeman?" And I'm like, "Uh-huh." And he's like, "You came into my high school business class and spoke to me during my senior year 2 years ago, and that's cool, you're calling me." And I'm just like, huh. So It's like you just never know when, with this internet thing, when people are going to be watching and when people are going to be thinking of what you're doing. And that's where the mentality of you got to be careful also comes in mind, right? It's because you just never know. You never know how someone's going to take it and twist it and whatever. Just, you know, you want it all to be good and you want to end it to a good result, but is it ever not going to?
Right. I'll tell you what was interesting, and my business partner kept kind of giving me the nudge, was ICSC last year.
Oh, yeah.
The amount of people that walked up to me, and I felt so awkward, Bucky, because they're telling me about everything that they love about me, and I don't even know who some of these people are. I felt so bad. I'm like, oh, I feel like I should know everything about you, but I don't. It was really cool and really awkward is the only word I can think of.
And it's humbling. It's just like, I'm doing something right. It feels right. Like, I can't necessarily put an exact dollar amount to it's building this amount of business. I can't say that it's, you know, making me this much better. I would not be in this position in my career, but you have that internal feeling where it's like, I'm on to something. And you just know you're doing the right thing and creating content on a consistent
100%.
basis. So hats off to you. Beards off to you. You're doing it. You are doing it, Eddie. Like I started with Snapchat. Dude, you're killing. How the heck do you have so many followers on your Instagram? Did you buy those off of some Chinese website or what?
Yes, so what I did is during the first part of it, I grew until I hit a threshold. Then I hired a marketing company to help me with it, which I suggest no one ever does.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Good
do not go that route because it's hurting me now because my stuff is not getting pushed out as hard as it should. And somebody told me that's because that's the way the algorithm works, is it's based on some sort of, I don't understand it exactly, but I know that it's hurting me versus helping me at this point.
Interesting.
Now, it's really cool in the fact that the stories portion now, so that whole thing is always changing, right? My stories get unbelievable amounts of views. The stuff on the feed right now is absolute garbage. And I think that's because the way the algorithm works and the way this marketing company was helping me, which didn't really help me.
So you say don't do that, and then what would you say? What would you say do? You know, for somebody that is looking at creating content on Instagram.
That's what I'm doing. What I'm doing on LinkedIn is what I probably should have done on Instagram. I wanted to grow it quickly, and there's this whole back and forth of like street cred because you brought it up, right? I've got how many other viewers or how many other followers?
I want to say it's 15,000. Let me look.
Okay. So they're engaging. It's cool. People look at it real quick and they're like, wow, but does it really help business? I don't think it does.
15,000.9. So is that 15,900? That's what it shows. So yeah, it's like showing up to the party with the best looking suit and tie and some sweet shoes. And people go, wow.
And then that's it.
That's it.
And then it's done.
Then it's done.
Yeah.
All right.
Hopefully I have some quality content that people like, and I feel like there are. I'll tell you what I've found out about using Instagram: broker to broker and direct messages. That's where it's at. I've got more friends and more community from broker to broker across the United States utilizing that platform than anything else. I have got deals done because of it here in my local market, but broker to broker has been unbelievable.
Yeah. And they think of you when they think of Arizona, and you think of them when you think of Montana or wherever else that referral is. Interesting. Good, solid facts right there. That is good. I even think of some of my most recent referrals out of state, and I jumped to Twitter, and I put out a question of who knows somebody in this area, and it never fails when you use the hashtag CRE and just being in that conversation consistently, you get an answer.
That's so cool.
That's sweet. That's the power of the internet. All right, Eddie, what is your TikTok strategy? And for those that aren't on TikTok, what's a reason they should be on TikTok?
TikTok is interesting. TikTok is addictive. TikTok is going to leave you laughing extremely hard with belly laughs. You know what's interesting about TikTok and why other commercial real estate advisors should be on TikTok? Because there's not very many of us on there yet. It's going to be like all the others. It's going to be a long play. It caters to younger people. It's just one of those things that I think about Snapchat giving me the confidence to be in front of the video, which then got me in front of the video for Instagram. Instagram got me in front of the videos for LinkedIn.
Yep.
Now the creativity that goes into TikTok, I don't know what it's going to lead to, but mark my words, it's going to lead to something.
Yes. So where my mind goes, and I kind of felt it yesterday, I had said this once about Snapchat, but it's essentially a editing platform in your pocket. So if you think of Final Cut, and these guys pay major bucks for Final Cut to be able to edit videos and make them look fancy, and you see them on Facebook and you go, gosh, I wish I could do that, but I don't have the time to learn, nor is it really my passion, but I just want to do it. And with Snapchat, I kind of felt I was doing it in miniature ways. With TikTok and the features and the functions they have, it truly is an editing software for me. And yesterday, I took my property short video that I now am trying to make consistently for every new listing we get, whether it's me on my iPhone or actually getting a videographer out there, and as part of the photography they do a short video. And I took that video, uploaded it to TikTok, added stickers on top of it, added effects where it was actually making it look kind of cool, like someone had done it in some other software. And then I reshared it on my Facebook story. And in my Facebook story, and I have Facebook pulled up right now on the left-hand side so I can see it on my desktop, it's very prominent where the stories are when you go to Facebook. Right. And in my story, the first photo was this goofy-looking smiley face with a tongue out, because that's the sticker I'd put over my head to start the video. And I wonder, and I looked, like yesterday being a Sunday, there was probably 70, when I had looked, views on that property tour. And it did lead to one person on a Sunday saying, where is this property? And it just made me think how I had edited it in TikTok with what I'll call clickbait that got people to actually click on it in a different platform that led to an inquiry. And so what I'm getting at is, it is a editing software in your pocket that you can make effects look better than you ever imagined. And if you use it as that to distribute on other platforms, you are light years ahead of other real estate, commercial real estate agents, even residential real estate agents. And then if you figure out, hey, there's actually some following that can be built on TikTok, that's an advantage, but it's not necessarily why you're there, in my opinion.
I like that. I like that a lot. And you know what? Before we jumped on this, I was working on a little video. Like, it just gets your brain cranking, right? So I'm going to try that now. I'm going to take the video that I make this afternoon, and I'm going to roll it over to LinkedIn and do a little test.
Mm-hmm. And then test A/B, right? So test how many more views, engagements, whatever the question may be, on LinkedIn versus your Instagram story versus your Facebook story versus your Snapchat story, if you have that. Like, that's getting into way too much, but that's what I'm doing, is I'm distributing on multiple platforms. And because I'm good at distributing on multiple platforms, all from my phone, by the way, it leads to better brand awareness in my market than others because of that consistent output of content.
That's funny. It's funny you say that. Brand awareness. My voice, I called the broker the other day. He didn't know, obviously it's a phone call, right? So I pick up the phone. I say, hey, I'm giving you a call about this property. I've got a tenant that might be involved. And the guy, I talked just a little bit more, and the other broker on the other line's like, wait, is this Eddie? And I'm like, yeah, it's Eddie Gonzalez from SBN. And he goes, man, we all watch your videos in the office on LinkedIn, and normally I'm not watching it, I hear it, but I totally recognize your voice. And I'm like, it's working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, brand awareness, man.
Brand awareness.
I listened to our last podcast just briefly last night, kind of getting prepared for this. Yeah. And so we've talked about social. We're both passionate about social. Let's talk a little bit about the listing platforms and what has changed since our last conversation. So if you recall, in our last conversation, we talked about LoopNet. That's the most popular search engine for commercial real estate by far. Mm-hmm. If you go to Google, Arizona, Rochester, Minnesota, anywhere, LoopNet pops up number one. And they had just gone through a change that increased the charges that we were getting charged, and they were migrating data from one platform to another. And it was really, for a commercial real estate agent, it was a tough month. But we've gone through that, and I would say the fees have not gone up on this LoopNet. So not that it's cheap, but we are seeing consistent fee structure relative to what it costs to put a listing on that service. What are some new changes you're seeing in the listing platform world out there, or whether it's in LoopNet or other platforms? What are you seeing change?
We're still utilizing kind of the CoStar / LoopNet deal. There's another platform that we've been using called Crexi. Are you familiar with Crexi?
Yep.
I'll tell you what I'm spending the majority, it's not a listing platform, but I am spending a ton of time on a program called Vizda, Vizzda, also a paid platform. What's really cool about this particular platform is within a day, sometimes 2 days, you get an email about anything that has happened in your particular market. So I rope off the area where I want to be. If someone has refinanced, if somebody has gone in for zoning, or if a building has sold, it pops up via email right in front of me. You can also go in almost like you would utilize the CoStar, and you can get phone numbers, you can get owners, you can get entities. It is a cool site. Are you jumping on it?
Yeah, I just pulled it up on the website here. I'm wondering, is it specific to size markets? That's what we see with some of this commercial real estate technology.
That's a great question. I don't know.
Okay. All right. So I'm already there. And so it shows, which counties do you prefer? Arizona, I'll butcher this, Maricopa, or Pinal.
Pinal.
And then Florida, it has Broward, Palm Beach, and Miami. And
interesting. So it's just the 2 states.
2 states, 5 counties. Yep.
Interesting. Well, I am excited for that platform to get huge and take over the country, because it doesn't have the listing portion yet, right? But that's something, and we all talk about the market is ripe for CoStar to go down. They're just the beast right now. Yep. And the thing of it is, we give them the information. And I'm probably going to piss people off by saying this, but we're paying for our information.
Yeah, that's the facts. Yeah, exactly.
A lot.
They call on us and ask us what we sold it for. We tell them. They then package it, put it in a bow, and sell it back to other people and yourself.
In our office, that is our second highest expense other than rent.
That's crazy. And that's probably across the board for a lot of brokerages.
There's a lot of local guys now that don't even utilize CoStar because of the cost.
Right. Yeah, we're not on CoStar, but we do use LoopNet because of the leads and the inbound, traffic we get on our listings. It's difficult to deny the power that it has.
Are there any other new ones in your market that you're utilizing?
So Crexi, I've seen. I'm really heads down on social, to tell you the truth. I just believe that if I can develop a process around consistently putting out information through social, through landing pages, through our own website, and really hone in on that will lead to the biggest gain long term. I don't think it's a short-term play as to how to build up the fastest leads. That would be, posting on Crexi and Brevitas and Excelligent, or which is now, it's now Ready Comps. I can't remember, Catalyst or something like that. Catalyst. It would be posting on all those and then trying to get as many leads that direction. But it's like, we're a member to those services. We have to pay for those services. We don't own any of the data. It's not building up our foundation as a brokerage. And so we're trying to hone in on what's still producing leads, such as LoopNet, but then really trying to build processes around social, because we're believing in that to be the best long-term play, combined with a proper website that we can build lists and retarget and use advertising to help get people into our world as a brokerage firm.
I love that. You keep saying something and I keep saying something, and it's triggering in my mind right now. Everything is long-term. Mm-hmm. The short-term stuff, it might work a little. Mm-hmm. But just like building relationships, it's the long-term stuff. It's the deep dives it's the good stuff.
All right, let's pivot again. Let's talk about some deals. Let's talk about, in 3 years, I'm sure you've got some deals under your belt. What has been some experiences there? Old, new, good, bad? What's happening on the deal side?
Absolutely. So the good, newest one, and I would definitely call this a success. I have had this listing for about 8 months now. It is a really good area. It is a great up and coming area. And we might be in escrow right this second. I don't know. Were the banks open today or not?
I don't think
Title
so.
open today?
Title, I think, was. I remember.
Okay, so they are open today. I got a phone call about 2 hours ago that she was taking the check to the escrow company. So hopefully, maybe we're in escrow on this right now. The reason why I'm telling this is persistence. I went and visited with this gentleman 2 years ago. I took him my marketing package. I took him everything. I thought it was a really good meeting. My senior business partner went with us. I called him back a few weeks ago. He spoke, or a few weeks after the meeting. He spoke with me. Called him again. You know when you pick up the phone and someone else picks up the phone and it's like that awkward silence?
Mm-hmm.
Hello? Hello? Nothing. Hangs up. And then I call and call and call, and it was more than 6 calls where it would pick up and literally hang right back up. And I'm like, what in the world? So I switched it to a 3-month follow-up process. I follow up, same thing. About 2 months into the next cycle, I get a phone call from the owner. He calls me and he says, Eddie, bring your listing agreement. It's time to sell the building. Persistence.
Yeah.
Total persistence. I was on the top of his mind. The timing was wrong. Why he was hanging up, I don't know. It doesn't matter because I got the listing. And today was the day that we went into escrow on his building.
That's exciting.
It is exciting. Really.
And do you recall where the lead came from of the buyer? Was it another broker? Was it through a listing platform?
I walked into his building and shared another listing with him. That's how it started.
Nice.
Walk-ups.
Yep.
Money in the bank.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's talk about failures. One of my biggest deals ever failed this year. And it failed for a reason that I got blindsided by. We should have closed on this deal the end of October. It was a long, drawn-out process because the current owner, the owners of the business, I was representing the buyers. The owners of the building / business needed time. So we did a long, drawn-out escrow period. And during that long, drawn-out period, I don't know if you know what's going on in Phoenix, but there is a lot of activity, which is taking construction prices and gone sky high with them. So the initial bid for this deal was $1.5 million for the construction portion of it. We got down to the last week before the money went hard. The soon-to-be owner went and talked to his contractor and said, hey, just kind of touching base. We're going through with this thing. Money's going hard next week. Contractor comes back to him and says, yeah, so about that number that I gave you, instead of 1.5, we're looking more like 3.
Wow.
I'm frustrated, and I have to get on the phone to the other broker. And the other broker is also frustrated. He's like, we have to be able to get this thing back going again. We try, we don't. And he shares with me, like he is a very heavy hitter broker here in Phoenix. Fourth huge deal that had fallen out for him this year due to construction prices.
So they're living it.
It's a thing.
Yep.
It's a thing. And I guess, I'm still a new guy. So I did not see that one coming.
I'll give you one of my more recent, because it's top of mind. I've been communicating with this group for at least 6 years. It started when I first met their son right out of high school, and we had things in common of like building websites and just using the internet in different ways. He was into film, and I was into the web side of things and a little bit of film. And he introduced me to his parents, and then I got to know his parents, and they had a thriving business, and it was growing. And I've just stayed in touch with them, and they've followed me in my career as a commercial real estate agent. So they've reached out to me periodically through the years. I remember meeting with them probably 2 or 3 years ago, talking about building and introducing them to a general contractor and a banker. Just about probably 5 months ago or so, they invited me back into their office, and I would always go into their office as I would on an annual basis. And we were just brainstorming buildings because they were at the point where they absolutely 100% had to grow. And you could just feel it in their office space. There's 3 people in an office that should really only max have 2. And in that brainstorming session, a building comes top of mind that we should go look at. It's not actually being marketed for sale. It's being marketed for lease. And that leads to them, long story short, buying it. And that led to them needing to list, and it was already listed, their property, because they were kind of preparing for this, and I had it listed. And all in a matter of like a month, it came together where we were closing on their other property. They just recently closed on it. They're selling their current property, and we're just about a day or so away from getting that completed. Fingers crossed. And it was again persistence, right? Of just continually, whenever they call, go and meet with them. Whenever they have questions via text, being sure to answer them. Whenever they wanted to brainstorm about ideas, sending them ideas with no idea if anything will ever come of it. You hope and you think and you have that good feeling, but for all we know, their business could be gone tomorrow. And that persistence led to 2 deals getting done in a matter of a few months. And it's just a really good feeling to finally get that one completed.
That's awesome.
And see them grow. I mean, they're just ecstatic, right? They're in their new building. They are now just primed for growth. And I think their employees are happier because they're not congested like they were. They have more parking. It just feels it's a better environment. So seeing that is really exciting. And then hopefully seeing this new company coming in behind their space, being able to grow as well. So it's that good feeling of success of really.
Are you able to share what type of business?
Home healthcare.
Interesting.
Yeah. Home healthcare seems to be, and we're seeing a lot of that senior affordable housing, those type of hot topics, hot terms. That's what's continually driving activity in our market. I would say the trades also, we're seeing a lot of demand for industrial space and not so much supply. And so trying to figure out where is a good place to build and if someone should build. And it's been fun. It's a good time.
I love it, man.
If I think of one of my more negatives, I'll think of one that I just got an email on probably half an hour ago. Had a listing about an hour away from my hometown, ended up spending time showing, almost getting someone to the finish line. They pulled out, and I had this space marketed for lease. And I failed to put a clause in there that in the event that it sells, I would still get a commission because it just wasn't the intentions of this owner to sell. Well, the email I just got, of course, was someone bought the building. And so it's like, gosh, there was some wasted time and money and marketing. And
I have an idea.
Yes.
We've done this before. Does the new owner need a leasing team, or are they going to occupy?
Yeah, owner occupy, but great idea. Because I asked the question right away. I said, what's the intentions of their use? And the response was, well, they're going to use it exactly what it was designed for, a daycare. Well, like, that makes sense. And I want, and you're in the back of your mind, you're like, how did they find it? Did they find it through my lease listing? Like, come on. Like, there's something there has to be something I did that led to it. Whether I did or didn't, it doesn't matter.
Here's what I love about what we're doing now, right? You and I both now have this on our brain. Who knows how many other agents are going to realize this. Guess what clause we are now all going to put in the leasing document? Yeah.
Got to protect your time. We are we are not paid hourly. We are paid on commission. And so your time is worth dollars and you need to protect it.
Indeed. Indeed.
Good. Great conversations about deals. What else is on your mind, Eddie? We've covered social. We covered the listing channels. We've covered some deals. What else you got cooking?
Everything is good. Phoenix is it's moving and grooving. What I am, I'll say, struggling with is I'm getting all of these deals, right? But the deals aren't necessarily in my area of focus. And I am having a heck of a time utilizing time because I'm running that way and then I'm running that way. And what I really want to do is be focused in the area that I'm sitting in right now, in the surrounding area where I can get to any one of my listings within 10 minutes versus having to run all the way to South Phoenix or run all the way to the West Valley. So that's just one of the things that's on my brain right now. It's awesome to have business. It's awesome to have the relationships with these gentlemen that own multiple buildings so I can do what I'm doing. What I'm really focused on is getting more listings right here in the core, right here in my backyard. How about you?
Well, just while you're on it, my mind went to a gentleman I've talked to here recently that was in sales and then has kind of converted out of sales, but still has his license. And he is referring all of his business. He's good at getting leads from the content he's put out on the internet, but his true heart and passion is not in sales. And so he's referring to other agents that he knows and likes and that he trusts. And as a result of that, he's able to focus on what he loves to do. And what he loves to do is coach, and he loves to train, and he loves to help other real estate agents basically build the inbound marketing that he's created in his market and do it in their market. And so when you started sharing about that, it's like, you're good at getting leads. I'm certain of it because of the amount of content you're putting out and the ways you're putting it out. And that's why those leads are coming in to take you to other places that are not in your backyard. Is there people like you or people you can build relationships with in those markets, and maybe even within your own team, that you can say, you got to go talk to this person? It's just not where my heart is.
Yes. The answer is yes.
But it's tough to pass them because, you know,
it is.
You've worked hard to get that lead and you don't know what that lead could turn into.
That's the other thing, Bucky, is you really don't know. He's Blake. Are you friends with Blake Haggett? At Boise?
Yep.
He and I jump on phone calls periodically, and that's one of the things that we almost always touch on is whether it be a conversation, a phone call, a post, you just never know who that next thing is going to lead to. And that's what's always bouncing around in my mind is, sure, if I take this deal on the west side, and then somebody on the west side sees my sign that has another building in Central Phoenix.
Yeah, the dominoes could line up.
Right.
What you got to say is when you pass that referral, be like, look, if this person turns out to have a lot of business in this area, I'd love a referral back.
There you go. I like the way you think.
You're right.
I like the way you think.
And I'm by no means a great practitioner in that, as I am one that likes to chase opportunities no matter where they are. So I'm preaching to myself there as well. As far as one of the struggles I have is I am such a believer in social. I have committed so much time to social that I'm now to the point where it's like, I need to create a process that makes this social strategy so much easier, because enough is enough. Like literally years of my life, I feel have been dedicated to creating consistent social content. And that's great. But it is lots of time, and I'm ready to create a process and a team that can help implement it on a regular basis. And processes don't come naturally to me, but I'm trying to buckle in and trying to do so because I think it can be the changer in the way that I do business.
Are you talking about hiring employees or just systemizing what you're currently doing? Kind of walk me through what you're...
Yeah, so what I would share is one, and I'll go into the details of listings. In listings, you know, photos are common and everybody does them, but no one really does good, consistent videos. And so can you, as part of your check boxes, as part of your process, make sure that the person taking the photos can do the videos and create good content for those listings? And then from there, have it filed in a place that is very easily accessible to somebody, whether it's myself, hopefully somebody else, that can take that content and, like they do already, put it out there on LoopNet and all those other listing platforms, but put it in the pipeline to get out on social media platforms such as LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram on a consistent, regular basis. So I don't have to think about, did I post that one on Instagram? Did I post that one on LinkedIn? It just naturally happens like it already does on our listing platforms. And then taking it a step further, of saying, okay, it's out on the listing platforms, but is it actually leading to a place where someone can easily inquire, fill out a form, and actually get information on this property where myself or my team can follow up? And what I believe needs to be done is each individual listing has to have a landing page, and it can't just be a LoopNet page, for example. I want it to be our own page. I want it to be something we own and control. And so that would be the process. And then taking it one step further than that, that's all through organic distribution. Now, can we add advertising dollars to that whole scheme to where we are placing it in feeds, in people's feeds that would have never came across it because they don't like our Facebook page. They don't follow myself on Instagram, but because we placed it correctly on the advertising platform and spent an appropriate amount of money, it led to a new inquiry. And so that's the process I talk about, because I feel like I have the organic stuff down for what I can handle, but I don't have the process down for what can be done by others and on a consistent basis.
I love that idea.
So
I love it. What's it gonna take to implement it? You need to hire people? Do you already have people?
I've been fortunate to find some great people to kind of rally around this idea. I have a lady named Sam that is helping out with multiple things, but one is the organization of the filing system. Two is creating a newsletter that gets distributed on a monthly basis. Three, what she's helping with is making sure that we are spending money on Facebook and other platforms in a manageable way, and we can take the results of that ad spend and actually show it to the people that help contribute to those dollars for the ad spend, because I alone can't afford to put all the money into the ad spend. The property owners need to do it. And so I'm trying to get them to invest and see this vision of how we can put money in to the ad platforms to get the proper results. So Sam, and then Ethan, who also is very talented with Facebook advertising. On the video and picture side, there's two very talented individuals here in town, Josh and Kevin, and they've been helpful in creating different pieces of content in unique ways, and ways that other commercial real estate agents definitely are not. And so we're trying to perfect our method and our madness and the way that we do it. They're the same people that have helped out with market updates and all kinds of other cool content. And then on just the overall process side, I've had another individual that has kind of helped me map out this process. And we just need to really start mapping out every step of the way and then implementing it and applying strategies to those that are going to help. So yes, it takes a team.
It does. It does. Can I put you on the spot? Kind of an awkward question here.
Yeah.
So I met with a videographer, and this person hit it big. He was doing good things, and a big corporation reached out to him, and he was doing their video, kind of the vlog and all of that stuff for a big corporation. So when I came to him, the numbers that were tossed out to produce some of the content was huge. Can we talk about numbers as far as Facebook advertising goes and producing content? Can you kind of tell me what type of budget that you throw at those particular projects?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that for the amount, how do I explain it to my best ability? I think that commercial real estate agents are probably, individual agents are probably the best opportunity for young content creators, video production, photographers, people that want to turn this into a career, the best potential customer. And the reason I say that is because they can lead to some of those big leads, and they will have the most amount of content that they can kind of say, I've been a part of, that touches multiple types of businesses, versus going into a salon and saying, hey, I'll help you with your photos and video, and all your content that comes out is going to be photos and video. Where you talk to a commercial real estate agent and you're going to be doing a CrossFit, and then you're going to be doing a nail salon, and then you're going to be doing a multifamily apartment building, and next thing you know, you've touched so many different industries. So for that reason, I think the content creator needs to be somebody that's young, that's trying to grow their business, that's helping with creating consistent content for a commercial agent, individual agent. That being said, the prices have to reflect that. And so my belief is the prices for an individual property, if you talk about photos and videos, it's difficult to exceed, just round numbers, it's difficult to exceed $600 to $800 as an individual agent to eat and put out for just the pictures and the videos. More than that, you get into the $1,000 range, you're like, oh gosh, I hope I sell this thing. Like even at 600 to 800, you're like, it's a lot of money to put out there to hope that I sell this thing and can pay that bill. Now, when you take it to the next level of saying, okay, there has to be this process of distribution. My hope would be an individual agent has somebody to help them with that within their company. And that should just be part of their compensation split with their brokerage house. Now, that's not usually the case, right? They're not helping with social distribution. So I think you need to, just round numbers again, dedicate for an individual listing probably $200 to distribution on the different social media platforms. And that's just to distribute and put in proper copy and get it all in the pipeline so it hits on Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. Okay, we're not done yet. The next one is ad spend. So now you need to figure out how to take all those great videos and pictures and you have them out there in an organic platform. You need to add advertising dollars to get them to pop up in someone's individual feed. And I am a big believer that anything less than $300 a month for an individual listing is not going to provide you the results that really it should provide you and the data that it should provide you. I don't think an individual agent should be paying that. I think the property owner should be paying that as part of their contribution to the marketing efforts in a hope that it helps bring more awareness to their product you're trying to sell on their behalf. Because I do think that the agent should be paying for the listing platforms. As you just mentioned, they're not cheap. They're the second highest expense in your brokerage firm. They should be paying for the other listing services. They should be doing the showings pro bono with the hope that they get. So you need to get property owners invested into the ad spend. That's my belief. The last thing that I missed kind of in that whole process is a landing page. From what I've discovered, I didn't mention this as part of the team, but I have a good web person that's helping me build out this vision. Each landing page for a property costs about $100. So that's the money. $600 to $800 for the content creation, $200 for the distribution, $100 for the landing page, $300 a month in ad spend to get the proper data to be able to pivot and adjust your marketing budget to help get the best results.
$1,500-ish.
Yep. On top of that, you're going to have your LoopNet cost, your time for Crexy, your everything else. We should be better at our cost of goods sold as a commercial real estate advisor, but we're not. We don't know what actually a listing costs us to have. But at the end of the day, every listing is probably costing us, what, $3,000 minimum? I mean, if you think about time and everything, minimum.
So Bucky, what you're saying is we make all this money, right? And we're so greedy, right? It's not true.
Yes, I
We're
don't know.
good dudes.
I don't know. It's not easy work, but it is fun work because you're able to do so many different types of transactions and meet so many different business owners, and just it's fun work. There's no doubt.
You know what I think? I think that it's fun work because it's not easy work.
Yeah, that's true.
Can you imagine going back to just like a desk job and making a salary? And that would be so boring.
What did you do?
Zero emotional roller coaster involved in that.
What did you do before commercial real estate, Eddie?
I was in the hotel industry. I worked for the Ritz-Carlton Phoenix.
Nice. So you were behind the desk?
I was not. I was operating the front drive. So anything that was valet, anything that was bellman, anything that was doorman was all me. I ran that team.
Could you go back to it?
I wouldn't go back to it for several different reasons. A, I'm having a ball doing this. What I did not like about that particular job is you were on your feet all day, and I didn't realize it until it no longer happened, but it just wrecks your body. Like, I hurt all the time with that job.
Yeah.
In addition to this sort of is, but that truly was a 24-hour-a-day job. If something happened at 3 a.m., I was getting a phone call at 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm. All right. This has been fun.
Yeah.
What did you think about my numbers, Eddie? Am I on with my numbers or am I off?
No, I think you're spot on. The gentleman that I interviewed, because he did hit it so big, he wanted $1,000 a day.
Yeah. So I guess why you asked that question is because I think what happens, and it's just bound to happen. The young individual that helps you out, that does, and I think they make good money of doing your listings. I think eventually they will get pulled to the bigger world, and that's okay. And you as an individual agent have to figure out that you have processes already created that you can put somebody new in place that wants to start that same trajectory. That's my belief. So yeah, that's what we got.
I love it. Is it time to wind this thing down?
It is. We better call it. Let's just wrap it up with what are 2 tips that you have for people. 1, looking to get into owning commercial real estate, and 2, looking to maybe get interested in selling or leasing commercial real estate. What are 2 tips you got?
Well, let's start with the owning commercial real estate, because that is my goal. That is what I want to do, and that's what I'm actively seeking right now, are deals for myself. And I think I can go a long distance with this, and I know we have a couple minutes. I think the name of the game on finding your own deals is A, also persistence, but B, really understanding the deal. Looking at a deal from the brokerage aspect versus the owner aspect, it should be the same, but I have found it's different. It's very different when you're looking at a deal to purchase it for yourself. That being said, it's a numbers game, right? You're going to have to look through a lot of deals till you find the deal. Persistence.
Yeah.
And then as far as getting into the industry, it's the same thing, man. It's persistence. You need to understand that it's not easy. It's a ton of fun. The hardest part is truly the beginning portion of it, because just not really having anything to work on at first. Because once you get that first listing, then you can call everyone in the neighborhood and brag that you have that listing, and walk people through that particular deal. And then it starts pulling everything towards you. What's the whole thing? You want to pull the rope. You don't want to try to push the rope.
Yeah.
So persistence, and mentorship, man. If I didn't have the team of people around me that I have, I don't know how I would be able to do what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. My 2 tips for that would be 1, look up what a contract for deed is and start figuring out how to understand a contract for deed. And then 2, be able to explain it, because I think there's a lot of owners out there that are sick of the property management, but don't necessarily want to part with their property. That's just a difficult thing to do. Maybe they've got it through the family. Maybe they're just not at that point in life. And I think a contract for deed is a good way to help that. It's a tool. It's a financing process to help with getting into ownership of your own property. So contract for deed. And then if you're looking to get into real estate, I agree with you on the mentorship, and I would take it a step further of like job shadow before you actually jump in. And, don't go get your license. Go and job shadow. And I think there's a lot of real estate agents out there that would allow you to do so for a long period of time, probably. And you probably have to do some work in return because you're coming along. But as a result of that, you'll truly find out what this whole real estate thing is about. And I see too many people, I feel, just jump in. I got my license. Next Facebook post is I'm licensed. And post after that is I'm looking at properties. And it's like, just figure out if this investment is worth it. And by doing a job shadow, I think you can.
I heard something crazy at the Arizona School of Real Estate and Business. The ladies and gentlemen that get their real estate license in Arizona, when it comes time to do the 2-year renewal, 80% of the people that are licensed do not renew.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's 80-20 rule, right?
Indeed.
All right, Eddie, if people want to find out more, if they want to follow Tub Talks, if they want to get to know you, where can they follow?
You know, this is where I have failed a bit because each one of my platforms, there is not consistency as far as my name usage goes. Let's start with TikTok because that's a pretty big focus right now, right?
Yeah.
AZCRE. So Arizona Commercial Real Estate, AZCRE. LinkedIn is my name, Eddie Gonzalez, and my last name is Gonzalez. And I've made it a little bit easier to find. I put a cactus and a sunshine there.
Nice.
That's LinkedIn. If you want to go Instagram, it's Arizona, or it's AZ, Arizona Commercial Real Estate, all spelled out. So AZ Commercial Real Estate. That's all, my brother.
There you go. I'm going to keep following. Thank you, Eddie, for joining me today. And let's not make it a year before we catch up again. Let's do this again soon.
I concur. It was good talking with you, Bucky.
See ya.
Have an awesome day.